The movie begins with two drifters, Leland Jones and Billy, checking out of a motel in a remote part of the American Midwest. The two are seasoned criminals who discuss their strategy, sticking to quiet, small towns to fly under the radar and avoid the heavy heat of the big cities. Before hitting the road, Leland realizes their water jug is bone dry and sends Billy back inside the motel office to refill it. When Billy enters, the scene is grim. The motel staff has already been eliminated. Billy, completely unfazed by the sight, proceeds to the cooler to fill the jug. His cold indifference is interrupted when a young girl unexpectedly appears. To ensure there are no witnesses left behind, Billy pulls his weapon and ends the girl's life before casually walking back out to the car. In the quiet town of Millbrook, Indiana, we meet the Stahl family. The night is interrupted when Tom's young daughter wakes up terrified by monsters in her room. Tom is a gentle, comforting father, assuring her that monsters aren't real. His teenage son, Jack, steps in with a bit of brotherly wisdom, telling her that monsters are afraid of the light, successfully calming her down before their mother, Edie, joins in to comfort her. The next morning, the family gathers for breakfast. While the home seems peaceful, there's a noticeable distance between Jack and his father, suggesting some underlying tension. Edie drops Tom off at the local diner he owns, which serves as a hub for the community. Inside, the atmosphere is lighthearted. Tom joins in on a laugh with his employee and a customer as they swap stories about disastrous and crazy dating experiences.
He once dated a girl who used to attack him in the middle of the night.
She's sitting there crying, going, "Baby, I love you, I love you."
While Tom is at the diner, his son Jack is at school playing baseball. He's being targeted by Bobby, a typical high school bully on the opposing team. Bobby tries to intimidate him, but Jack gets the upper hand on the field by making a great play, catching Bobby's hit and ending his turn. Later in the locker room, Bobby tries to provoke Jack into a physical fight, hurling insults his way. Instead of throwing a punch, Jack uses sharp sarcasm to dismantle Bobby's ego.
"You've established my unworthiness. Shouldn't that be little punk-ass chicken shit faggot bitch?"
Unable to come up with a comeback, Bobby retreats in total frustration. Jack has won this round without using his fists. That evening, Tom finishes up at the diner and finds Edie waiting for him. With the kids out of the house for the night, she suggests they revisit their youth. Back at home, she surprises him by dressing up in her old high school cheerleader outfit. It's a playful, romantic night for the couple, showing just how deeply in love and normal their lives truly are. While hanging out with his friend Judy, Jack wonders about the lives of teenagers a century ago. When Judy asks Tom for his take, he jokingly suggests that at least back then, kids weren't doing anything stupid. Jack expresses a cynical view of the future, fearing a cycle of boring jobs and mundane responsibilities, which Judy finds amusing. The piece is nearly interrupted when Bobby and his friend drive by. Still bitter from the locker room humiliation, Bobby's friend eggs him on to jump Jack right then and there. Bobby is ready for a confrontation until his car nearly crosses paths with Leland and Billy. Bobby starts to vent his road rage, but one look at the two men tells him everything he needs to know. These are dangerous predators, not high school kids. He wisely backs off and drives away. Meanwhile, Leland and Billy are hitting rock bottom. They discuss their dwindling cash and realize they are completely broke. Needing a quick infusion of money to keep moving, they decide it's time to find a target for their next illegal move, and their eyes are set on the quiet town of Millbrook. Leland and Billy enter Tom's diner just as he is closing up. Tom politely informs them they are closed, but Leland turns aggressive, demanding coffee and causing a scene. To keep the peace in front of his remaining customers, Tom relents and starts a fresh pot. He tells his waitress she can head home, but as she tries to leave, Billy intercepts her, harassing her and forcing her to sit back down. Sensing the situation is turning dangerous, Tom tries to de-escalate by telling them there isn't much cash in the register. Leland isn't interested in talk. He pulls a weapon and threatens a customer. In a split-second blur of motion, the gentle Tom Stahl vanishes. He smashes a hot coffee pot onto Leland's hand, disarms him with professional precision, and eliminates Billy. Leland manages to stab Tom in the leg during the struggle, but Tom doesn't flinch. He ends Leland's life immediately, saving everyone in the diner. The witnesses are stunned, but no one is more shocked than Tom himself, who looks down at his hands as if he can't believe what he just did. Tom's act of self-defense catapults him into the spotlight. In the hospital, he watches news reports where the diner patrons hail him as a local hero. While the rest of the country is inspired, Tom is visibly unnerved. The national coverage is exactly what he wanted to avoid. Edie arrives, overwhelmed with relief, and proudly shows him a newspaper featuring his photo on the front page. As the family leaves the hospital, they are met with a standing ovation from the townspeople. Back at home, a reporter waits for a statement, but Tom remains humble and deflective, insisting he only did what anyone else would have done and expressing sadness over the violence. While Jack is buzzing with pride and excitement over his father's newfound fame, Tom's internal alarm bells start ringing. Edie notices a mysterious black car parked outside their house. Assuming it belongs to more persistent media, Tom takes a long look at the vehicle. His instincts tell him it's something far more dangerous than a news crew, but he chooses to stay quiet and head inside, hoping his suspicion is wrong. The diner is busier than ever, as people from all over are coming to see the hero of Millbrook. But the atmosphere changes instantly when three menacing men from Philadelphia walk in. Their leader, a scarred man named Carl Fogarty, doesn't look at Tom like a hero. He looks at him like an old acquaintance. Carl repeatedly addresses Tom as Joey, speaking to him with a terrifying familiarity. Tom remains calm, firmly correcting him and stating that his name is Tom Stahl.
Think we know each other?
Come on, Joey, cut the crap. Your name is Joey Cusack.
Despite the tension, Edie stands by her husband, eventually telling the men that if they aren't there to eat, they need to leave. Carl gives Tom one last chilling look, still convinced he's found Joey, and finally exits. Edie doesn't take any chances and calls the local law enforcement. Sheriff Sam catches up with the black car and pulls them over. When Sam questions their business in town and their behavior at the diner, Carl dismisses it, mockingly saying they just stopped for a terrible cup of coffee. Sam makes it clear that outsiders aren't welcome to stir up trouble in his peaceful town. Carl offers a cold, polite farewell and rolls up his window, but it's obvious he has no intention of staying away for long. Sheriff Sam returns to the family to share some unsettling news. He's run a background check, and Carl Fogarty is no small-time troublemaker. He is a heavy hitter in the Philadelphia underworld with a long record of violence and organized crime. Sam is skeptical. Men like Carl don't drive halfway across the country just for a mistaken identity. He pulls Tom aside and asks the hard questions. Is Tom secretly in the witness protection program? Does he have a past that the town doesn't know about? Tom maintains his regular guy persona, denying everything and suggesting that his face on the national news simply triggered a false memory in a group of dangerous, delusional men. Though Sam leaves with a promise of protection, the weight of the situation finally hits home.
I've done some research. Joey Cusack, apparently he's the head of some kind of crime syndicate.
Edie breaks down in tears, the reality of their perfect life being threatened by high-level mobsters becoming too much to bear. Tom holds her tight, offering comfort, but the shadow of Joey is now looming over their entire household. The tension has finally reached a breaking point. While sitting in his diner, Tom spots the black car looming outside like a predator. Paranoia, or perhaps a survival instinct, kicks in, and he bolts toward his house on foot. He desperately tries to call Edie, but the silence on the other end only fuels his panic. When she finally picks up, Tom's voice is urgent and terrified. He tells her to lock every door and window and to grab the shotgun for protection. Edie, now in a full-blown panic, follows his instructions. When Tom bursts through the door, he's nearly met with a blast from the shotgun before Edie realizes it's him. Tom is completely winded from the sprint, physically exhausted by the adrenaline and fear. Jack witnesses this chaotic scene, watching his parents unravel in real time. When Jack picks up the fallen shotgun, Tom's reaction is instant and aggressive. He snatches the loaded weapon away, his gentle father persona slipping for a moment. Jack demands to know why they are living in a fortress of fear, but Tom tries to downplay it as a false alarm. Eventually, he gives Jack a partial truth, that some high-level mobsters from Philadelphia saw him on the news and have mistaken him for someone else, putting the whole family in the crosshairs of a dangerous misunderstanding. The tension moves from the diner to the local mall, where Edie and her daughter Sarah are followed by the mysterious black car. While Edie is preoccupied with a store employee, Sarah wanders off, a parent's worst nightmare. When Edie finds her, she is horrified to see her daughter standing near Carl Fogarty. Edie confronts Carl, demanding he leave her family alone, but Carl's response is chilling. He points to his damaged eye, claiming it's a permanent gift from Joey. The man he insists is her husband. He plants a seed of doubt in Edie's mind, questioning how a simple diner owner could eliminate two professional criminals with such surgical precision unless he had a history as a high-level hitman. Despite being shaken, Edie stands her ground, rejects his story, and rushes Sarah out of the mall. Meanwhile, at school, the pressure finally breaks Jack. While Judy tries to be supportive, Bobby returns to taunt him. Bobby mocks Jack, calling his father a killer, while labeling Jack a coward who hides behind his dad's reputation. Bobby pushes too far, and the pacifist Jack finally snaps. In a sudden burst of calculated violence that mirrors his father's actions at the diner, Jack brutally beats Bobby and his friend. A shocked Judy has to pull Jack away before he does permanent damage. The tension inside the house finally explodes. When Tom confronts Jack about the school fight and his suspension, he tries to maintain his role as the moral compass, explaining that violence only leads to more trouble, like potential lawsuits they can't afford. But Jack, having seen his father's heroism firsthand, isn't buying it. He throws Tom's own actions back in his face, asking how he can lecture anyone about violence. Stung by the truth, Tom loses his composure and slaps Jack, causing his son to flee the room in anger. When Edie arrives, she drops the bombshell that Carl cornered her and Sarah at the mall. Tom's immediate instinct is to call Sheriff Sam, but Edie stops him, revealing the seed of doubt Carl planted in her mind. She tells Tom that Carl is 100% convinced he is Joey, and the conviction in Carl's voice has her questioning everything she knows about her husband. The conversation is cut short as the black car pulls into their driveway. Tom and Edie head outside, armed and ready for a standoff. Tom tries to play the part of the innocent family man one last time, demanding they leave. But Carl is done playing games. He drops the act and speaks directly to Joey, urging him to stop the charade, return to Philadelphia, and reclaim his place in the criminal underworld. The standoff takes a terrifying turn when it's revealed that Carl's men have kidnapped Jack. Edie is in a state of pure panic, but Tom switches into a cold, tactical mindset. He promises her he will get Jack back and convinces her to go inside. Carl demands that Tom drop his weapon in exchange for his son. Tom complies, and as soon as Jack is released, he orders the boy to run into the house. Carl tries to force Tom into the car to take him back to Philadelphia, but the charade is finally over. In a split-second explosion of movement, the gentle diner owner disappears completely. Tom attacks with terrifying professional speed, eliminating one man with his bare hands and taking out the other with a firearm. In that moment, the truth is undeniable. Tom Stahl is Joey Cusack, a former high-level hitman. Carl manages to shoot Tom in the shoulder during the chaos, but before he can deliver a final blow, Jack reappears from the house with the family shotgun. With a single shot, Jack ends Carl's life, saving his father. A shell-shocked Jack is comforted by Tom, who pulls him into a hug, both of them now bonded by the very violence Tom tried to shield him from. Later, at the hospital, the lies are dead. The mistaken identity excuse no longer works. Edie sits by Tom's bed, looking at him not as her husband of 20 years, but as a stranger. She demands the absolute truth about who and what he really is. The truth is finally on the table. Tom admits he was once Joey Cusack, a man who did terrible things in Philadelphia decades ago. He explains that he killed Joey and created Tom Stahl to live a life of peace, and that meeting Edie was the catalyst for his transformation. However, for Edie, the revelation feels like a total betrayal. She realizes the man she has loved for 20 years has been living a lie since the day they met. The tension at home is suffocating. Jack is equally furious, feeling like his entire identity is based on a deception. When Sheriff Sam stops by, his suspicions are at an all-time high. He knows professional mobsters don't make mistakes like this and tries to get the truth out of Tom one last time. In a surprising move, Edie chooses to protect the family. She shuts Sam down, tearfully insisting that her husband is Tom and nothing more. Sam, seeing her distress, finally decides to drop it and leaves. Just as it seems they might have a moment to breathe, the past reaches out and grabs Tom again. He receives a chilling phone call from Richie, his older brother, and a powerful mob boss in Philadelphia. Richie makes it clear that the Joey problem isn't going away. Tom can either come to Philadelphia to settle things, or Richie will bring the violence back to Millbrook. To protect his family, Tom packs his gear and begins the long drive back to the life he tried to bury. Tom arrives in Philadelphia and is met by Ruben, one of Richie's top enforcers, who escorts him to a secluded, high-end mansion. The estate is a fortress, crawling with armed guards. Before Tom can see his brother, Ruben performs a thorough search for weapons, ensuring Tom is clean before allowing him entry. The reunion begins with an unsettling display of affection. Richie greets Tom with a massive hug, but the warmth is purely theatrical. As the brothers sit down to talk, the true cost of Tom's disappearance comes to light. When Tom vanished as Joey, he left a mess behind that Richie had to clean up. The mob bosses in Philly held Richie accountable, stalling his career and hitting him hard financially for his brother's betrayal. Tom tries to offer a peaceful resolution, wanting to put the past to rest once and for all. Richie, however, has no interest in forgiveness.
You always were a problem for me, Joey.
I'm here to make peace.
You could die, Joey.
He coldly orders his men to eliminate his own brother. In an incredible display of the lethal skills he tried to suppress, Tom turns the tables. He systematically takes out the guards and maneuvers through the mansion with terrifying efficiency. After neutralizing the last henchman, Tom finds himself face to face with Richie.
Jesus, Joey.
Without hesitation, Tom delivers a single, final shot to his brother's head, permanently severing his ties to the Philadelphia underworld.
Jesus, Richie.
The film concludes with that heavy, silent dinner. The family acknowledges his presence and provides him a place at the table, but the shared trauma and the shattering of his Tom Stahl persona leave their future together uncertain. The history of violence has officially become a part of their family legacy.